Hello, everyone, viewers of Speedgaming 3 here. We're going to have a nice major minor area boss race here between Nevdi and mm2nescartridge. Nevdi and mm2 are some of the premier runners of this mode. So what major minor area boss refers to is the item randomization as a major minor split. So there are going to be locations for major items, which are going to be your E-tanks, your reserves, and then any of your equipment upgrades, your suits, your beams, your movement items. And then the minor locations are basically going to be your ammo checks, your missiles, your supers, and your power bombs. The area part refers to full area randomization, as you can see by the map on the middle there. There are portals in these areas that will connect to other portals at random. So the areas and their locations and the map is kind of random in a way with these portals. And then the boss part refers to boss shuffle. So the bosses are going to be shuffled. There are 4 major bosses that must be killed, and they will be shuffled amongst themselves. I believe the only one that's not possible would be completely vanilla. So if you find 2 bosses that are at their vanilla location, that would mean that the other 2 have to be swapped. So we're going to get into it here, and both runners are going to be going down to Retro Brinstar. Retro Brinstar is going to have the morph ball either in its normal location, or it's going to be at the ceiling energy tank over by the beta missile. Both runners are going to elect to do a moonfall through the climb here, which is a trick using the moonwalk feature of the game to uncap your fall speed and fall really fast. So a big thing about this mode is that there's a lot of decisions to make that can have a lot of depth, and oftentimes a lot of those decisions will end up kind of close to equal. 55-45 is kind of what I like to call a lot of these decisions in a general seed. And you're trying to hit as many of the 55s as possible just to give yourself the best chance of winning. And these decisions can get really in-depth, especially with the portals and the portal information being very important here. So it looks like there's an E-tank at the morph ball location, so their morph ball is going to be in the ceiling here. You do a little deboost off of this enemy called a Rio to get that morph ball in the ceiling. And then they're going to check the 2 ammo checks here. They're looking for power bombs if they can find them. Power bombs are going to let them check the portal that is down here. Colloquially, it is referred to as the meme route portal. And it's a really hard portal to get back to. If you don't find it from the other side, it can be a really big thorn in the side of these runners here if they're unable to check it while they're down here. So the other ammo check is a power bomb, which means we're going to see a meme route check. The other big thing about this meme route check is that it lets you skip going through pit room, climb, and parlor. It can, rather, if it's a portal that you can follow. And that's really big because the climb and parlor are 2 of the longest rooms in the game, which is kind of funny considering they're some of the first rooms in the game. So we're going to get a meme route check over here, as well as there's an ammo pickup here. So what you're going to see these runners do is they're going to mock ball here as this power bomb explodes. And if they have enough speed on their mock ball, they should be able to get under that last hopper there, regardless of if it jumps high or low. And they'll use the iframes of the hopper taking damage from the power bomb to get through that one. The hoppers deal 80 damage without any suits, so they can be pretty scary if you didn't pick up an E-tank here, as MM2 takes a hit, but these runners picked up an E-tank earlier, so it's not a big deal. Especially with the heated room there, if the E-tank hadn't been down there, MM2 would have taken a death there. The heated room there, generally a heated portal to check it and go back through immediately, is about 10 energy, 10 to 12, depending on how quickly you can get back in the door. The croc portal can be up to about 17, so being full on health without an E-tank there is really important. And both of our runners here are going to use their last power bomb to check this old Mother Brain ammo check. A big reason for that is you want to head left at the ship if you can, because you want to be able to get the Terminator energy tank. And the big thing about the Terminator energy tank is it is a major. Whereas if you head right at the ship, those 2 portals don't have any major item checks along the way. But heading left at the ship and using your last power bomb to do so is a little bit risky. because you might find portals where you want power bombs. So generally, you'll see runners use their last remaining power bomb to check that ammo check instead, because they're planning on refilling at the ship before heading left anyway. And both of these runners have found another power bomb pack. Let's see if either of them decide to do Gauntlet. With 10 power bombs, I think Gauntlet is a pretty good check in the early game. You could argue that it's overly safe, but things like energy tanks have much higher value the earlier in the seed that you find them. So with 2 already and 10 power bombs, that an energy tank at the Gauntlet could actually just be logically required for some of the heated rooms if they find them heading left. So with 5 power bombs right now, I'm going to guess that MM2 is doing Gauntlet, because with this power bomb count, you can definitely just head left no matter what. And my guess is that Nevdi is also going to refill at the ship and do Gauntlet here. Interestingly, Nevdi got a power bomb from a pirate on the wall in the climb, which is like a 1 in 255 drop, I think, from the wall pirates. It's pretty rare. He went back to get it because, you know, you think, oh, power bombs in the early game, they're super important, but ends up just refilling at the ship anyway, so that extra power bomb didn't really matter. So this is a big reason why I think with 10 power bombs in the early game, Gauntlet isn't too bad, because you're heading this way anyway, and especially without super missiles here, there are 2 ammo checks at the back of Gauntlet here that you know, would be very big to hit on a super missile here. Even hitting on a power bomb here isn't too bad. 15 power bombs is definitely a place you want to be at in these seeds. It gives you a crystal flash, and it's enough to do the Metroid rooms without the ice beam, without having to refill your power bombs. Just an E-Tank at Gauntlet as well. E-Tank could prove pretty useful for some heated rooms, but if the seed shows an early Varia, that E-Tank loses its value pretty quick. And just a power bomb and a missile at the back. Pretty interesting to have 3 power bombs before finding a super missile. So the way the ammo is distributed in these seeds is there is a ratio of 3 missiles to 2 supers to 1 power bomb. And of course, it's random what it picks of these ones, so it's not always going to be 3 to 2 to 1, but that's the odds at which it decides. So there are 66 ammo locations. So on average, you will see 33 missiles, 22 supers, and 11 power bombs. So seeing 3 power bombs already is quite a bit to have found already, especially before finding your first super missile. And this portal here in West Crateria is going to lead to the bottom of Green Brinstar. Green Brinstar is a very important area to get to early. It has a lot of very easy major items that do not require items to get. And it has a lot of ammo checks as well. And those ammo checks really inform how your ammo is going to look throughout the rest of the seed sometimes. Getting a lot of supers here can make you feel like the seed is a really good ammo seed. So Green Brinstar just not only does it have a lot of checks, it offers you a lot of information about how the rest of the seed might play out. So MM2 going down the elevator here to check this portal in Red Tower. Nevdi, not sure if he wants to, and decides to do the same. I don't mind this. The top of Red Tower here is generally you kind of want to pair these portals if you can. One reason why a runner might decide to skip this portal here is because elevator rides do take a while. So having to go down and back up the elevator does take a while, but leaving this portal here can also have immense ramifications later that you might feel really bad later if you're in a situation where, like, say for instance, so that portal is the back of Rex ship, and that's not necessarily a very useful portal to have, but the fact that you have that portal checked off in the first place can help you make decisions later, in that you know then that a portal that you're taking won't take you to the back of Rex ship if you don't want to go there. So like just having the information is big, even if it's not necessarily a useful portal. Being able to just knock it off as those 2 portals, the back of Rex ship and that top of Red Tower, it's very good to just have that information. So now both of our runners are going to head up Green Brinstar here. And Business Center is at the middle of Green Brinstar. Especially without super missiles here, the high jump location is going to have 2 ammo checks to hopefully get some super missiles. In Green Brinstar, there is one major location that you're going to need supers for if you don't have the wave beam, and that is the wave gate. So another power bomb and just a missile. So Nevdi is leaving this business center. Looks like he's probably hoping to find super missiles in Green Brinstar at this point instead, so that he can go back and collect the ice beam check on the way back. And another power bomb pack here at the charge missiles. This is pretty absurd. Between the two of them, we've found 25 power bombs and 0 super missiles. Pretty unlikely for that to happen. But nonetheless, then there's that first super pack. So in putting off the business center here, Nevdi will be able to check it later. Or rather, we'll be able to check the ice beam location later, and MM2 might have to go back for it. So now Nevdi's going to come in here and do the wave gate. Hopefully he, is able to do it on 5 supers. I know he has some wave gate trouble sometimes. Okay, and he gets the wave gate. Took him 3 of his 5 supers. It's a good thing that that super pack was found there and not earlier. He might have ran out. Just an E-tank at wave gate, but again, this early, high jump had a reserve for those who might have just came in. MM2 has done the high jump location, found a missile and a power bomb and a reserve. And behind wave gate is just an E-tank. This early on, though, you aren't too upset about finding energy tanks. And now with these super missiles, Nevdi is going to go back and do business center. This is a pretty neat play here because now he's going to be able to get the portal on the right that MM2 ended up having to skip on the way out, at least. He's going to be able to do ice beam. He's going to be able to do high jump and be able to get that portal there on the right that MM2 wasn't able to. He is going to have to farm some super missiles to do it, though, because he's going to need to use 1 super missile on this door, and then he's going to need 2 to check the portal if he doesn't want to follow it. So he's going to need some super drops from these Sovas here. These Sovas have about 19.52%, I believe it is, so about 1 in 5 to drop a super missile for him. Which, it's not terrible odds, and doesn't get any there from those 3. He might lay a power bomb on the way back, and there's a reserve, so looks like Business Center is just 2 reserves. And Nevdi finishing up his business center here as MM2 is making his way to the Edikuns location. There's an E-tank down here, as well as an ammo check locked behind a green door. Also a nice nifty little power bomb refill here. And screw attack. So screw attack itself is really nice if you're in uncomfortable equipment for a potential lower Norfair. And 4 Sova kills combined between the 3 at... There's 1 super. Between the 3 at Ice Beam as well, was 8 Sova kills before a super missile. It's a little bit below average there. Nevdi's looking for 1 more so that he can check the right side portal there. Hopefully he remembers he's going to need 1 to get back. It would be really unfortunate if he checks that right side portal and gets put in a really awkward situation where he's forced to follow it. Now there's the Bryn reserve check here for MM2, and that's just going to be another E-tank. So this is a very healthy seed and an absolutely ungodly number of power bombs. This helps. this is going to help for potential suitless plays if they can find the super missiles to support these power bombs. And there's that second super for Nevdi. So he's going to be able to check this portal that MM2 ended up having to isolate. If MM2 has to go out the top of, wants to go out the top of Green Bryn here because it's a red tower, for instance, Nevdi might have a pretty substantial advantage with this information. And that is a red tower. Nevdi's thinking, and he's going to go down the red tower. He's going to elect to skip the rest of the Green Bryn Star to go down the red tower. Possibly he's just checking a few of these portals here while he's here, and is going to go back to Green Bryn Star after this. It really depends on what's found here. So now we're going to see the top of Green Bryn Star, and here's a Kraid location. So Nevdi's probably going to, yep, he's going to come this way and check the boss, and the top of Green Bryn is the Crocomire portal. So that's a portal MM2 is going to want to follow into this upper Norfair, this Bubble Mountain area. And with this health, this Bubble Mountain area is a pretty attractive place to go. The heated room traversal is going to be pretty quick because you're not going to be running out of health too fast. The only limiting factor on this is that super missile count. You want a little bit more super missiles so that you can hang on to a crystal flash. A crystal flash is a very quick way to just heal yourself up by trading ammunition for health, and it's a really nice way to speed up this Bubble Mountain section if you don't have the Varia suit. And there's another super missile. That's pretty big. And the Kraid boss is Ridley. So depending on how isolated this red tower is, that could be really big information for Nevdi. As well as if this turns into a seed where you're wanting to dive lower Norfair without the Varia suit. That is really big information to have. One of the biggest hurdles to diving lower Norfair without the Varia suit is if Ridley just ends up at his vanilla location like that. And then MM2 is coming here to check the Norfair Reserve. So Norfair Reserve has 2 ammo checks as well as a major item check. This is a pretty nice place to go. I think we're going to see Nevdi possibly do Spazer and head back to Green Bryn Star through the tube portal here, but the hard part is the Green Bryn Star is going to be really far away. You have to go up tube and then through Business Center, and then you're only at the middle of Green Bryn Star. Oh, wow, that's pretty big. That being said, though, there's no guarantees that Nevdi's going to be able to skip stuff that MM2 has already picked up. So that gravity suit there will allow Nevdi to possibly go elsewhere other than back to Green Bryn, but kind of as I suspected, he's going to go back into Green Bryn. It's just too dense and has too much ammo to really put it off much longer than this, but he's probably going to be feeling pretty good about his decision to put off the Business Center and to check this Spazer location. The only big thing is the middle of Red Tower is kind of isolated at this point. Every other portal in Red Tower is known, so that middle portal is definitely being left there. But I think Nevdi is probably thinking his opponent MM2 has not done this, and therefore it's a good idea to just follow back up Green Bryn at this point, because that information his opponent probably doesn't have either. And then he's going to be up this gravity suit and a little bit ahead in that regard. So just bombs at the speed booster location. With 30 power bombs, they're a bit less impactful. However, bombs are really big when attempting to do a variolous lower Norfair here. They save you 5-ish power bombs even on your way down to Ridley. And being able to save power bombs just makes it increases your ability to crystal flash multiple times significantly. And as well as the fact that, so MM2 does not know the Ridley location, but the fact that Nevdi does, it's probably on his mind to dive lower Norfair at this point. Not right now, but sometime in this seed he might have to dive lower Norfair without that Varia suit. And so he's also probably pretty happy about that screw attack. Okay, so this is the one thing about those heated rooms without the various suit. They get a lot slower because you have to farm up so much health here. M2 could have maybe gone on a little bit less health and then just decided to use a crystal flash to be able to get this and the portal as well. But there's a chance he probably just wants to stay kind of healthy with his ammunition. Okay. So a fall there is really unfortunate. However, it's a really good thing he farmed up a bunch extra. And he has that crystal flash for safety. He'll be able to trade some ammunition for health if it really comes to it. So the X-ray scope there. So this Bubble Mountain is not paid off for MM2 here. We are going to get a check of the single chamber portal. And that could be something that's really big for MM2. There's a lot of locations that, with our knowledge of where that gravity suit is, the middle of Red Tower would be really big for MM2 if it's there. Let's see. M2's going to need to do a crystal flash here. Yep, and he's going to trade 10 missiles, 10 supers, and 10 power bombs for a full refill as Nevdi comes up into Bubble Mountain here as well. So it looks like Nevdi is also going to come up here and do this Bubble Mountain without the various suit, and the single chamber portal is Turian. That's an important portal to have. Nevdi, or excuse me, MM2 doesn't have the Kraid location, but Nevdi will then have the Kraid and the Turian location, which makes Variolous LN absolutely on the table. The only way it wouldn't be is if nope, there's actually, based on all the information that Nevdi has, Variolous LN is on the table. There's no situation where a required reverse acid dive through the amphitheater will be needed. And here, having the gravity suit is really nice in this room here. You're able to just run underneath under the lava. So I believe MM2 is farming up here to do go through the cathedral in reverse. And as chat pointing out, yes, there is a situation where the front is croc and you have to, or the back is croc and you have to go front to front. That is the one situation where Variolous Lower Norfair might be pretty tricky here. However, with this many power bombs too, it's a little bit easier to do. The hard part about that acid dive reverse is, if you've never done it before, I wouldn't recommend doing it in a tournament match if it's your first time doing it. But what you need to do is either Firefly needs to be an E-tank that you save until after the boss, and you pick up that Firefly E-tank, do the acid dive, and then crystal flash immediately after, just about. Or you crystal flash before the acid dive, and then crystal flash after. So having 30 power bombs definitely enables it as a possibility. You just need some really good ammo to do it. So now M2's coming back and getting the stuff that he has missed. And this is what I mean, while it looks like things have worked out for Nevdi, the way the portals have worked out here, is that MM2 is going to be closer to Red Tower after all of this. And is going to, because it looks like Nevdi is probably going to have to do the same cathedral stuff that MM2 has done. So MM2 is able to just check this along the way, and is able to get back to Red Tower faster, because he's going to end at Red Tower. So, you know, that gravity that Nevdi had looked like a pretty big find. But it's kind of worked out here that his routing just ends up kind of inefficient, because he found it at the spot he'd like to end at here. So Nevdi's going to be able to get to this portal here without having to use the crystal flash, though, and we'll be able to crystal flash after checking this portal and use that energy to go through The Cathedral in reverse. Yep, I'm playing it safe here. Laying that power bomb a little late, but it doesn't matter. You still have plenty of time. I see Nevdi has not checked the ice speed or the speed booster location yet. This makes sense. The hard part about crystal flashing before having checked speed here, though, is when you're trying to farm health here, you're just going to get super missiles. So it's not really much of a health refill to have farmed there. Now MM2 finding his gravity suit and taking the portals on the right here. He's going to find the Kraid portal as well as the back of East Meridia. Now the big thing here is MM2 is probably also going to check that Kraid boss like Nevdi did, especially because 2 of the 3 bosses are killable. Unfortunately, his ammo is so bad though, he's not going to be able to do the varioless Ridley here. If he had 30 supers with this health, varioless Ridley would definitely be on the table. With 25, less so, just because the reserves are not full. If the reserves were full, you could do like a 25 super and 30 missile Ridley fight. But the difference between those 5 supers is actually kind of massive. So Nevdi's going to be farming here, much like MM2 was earlier to do the Cathedral heated run. And Nevdi having 2 reserves, this should be plenty of health to do that Cathedral heated run, especially with the gravity suit. He's going to save just in case. Another option for Nevdi, though, would be to go to Lava Dive and head up Crateria to get those 2 portals on the right there in Crateria, in East Crateria. Yeah, and it looks like that is what Nevdi is doing here. Nope, never mind. Heading up, meme route is pretty slow though, unfortunately. So I totally understand not wanting to do it. And so here MM2's kind of given some of that time back. He looked ahead, and some of that time is being given back. Both X-Ray and that ammo check there for a super missile. And Nevdi not feeling really good, was probably hoping to get in this situation to have enough supers to do that Ridley. Doesn't even have to use the reserves, not even close. So as you can see now, some of that time that Nevdi saved previously is being given back by MM2 checking the Kraid boss there. And that's kind of how these things work out, right? Finding that gravity suit early can be really good, but a lot of times, you know, MM2 is getting information while he's doing stuff. And that's the one thing about area that makes it a little bit more consistent than it sounds, is even if you're checking an area that ends up not having items, or like items that progress you, and just energy. Well, firstly, an energy tank is a progression item in a lot of seeds when you can skip that Varia suit. And then secondly, another big thing is that you're still gaining portal information. So even if none of the items pan out, you're still progressing your game state, which helps bring some of the consistency into area. You don't realize just how much that really helps until you played a few and watched a few that end up like this, right? They did entirely different things and end up in pretty similar situations here. Just because, and it's a bit different in a vanilla map category, right? In a vanilla map category, or randomizer rather, if you're going to Meridia before doing Norfair, for instance, and you find nothing, it's all dead time. Like, yeah, you kind of killed a boss, for instance, but like all those extra checks you're doing are dead time in a lot of situations. So in this instance, you're still at least gaining some information. mm2 decided to go through the back of East Meridia here. With some of the stuff remaining, I do not hate it at all. A big thing is I think skipping X-ray here is really good for both of them. The only situation where it really hurts them is if we have a Crocomire in the back of Lower Norfair. So I don't, well, the only situation that hurts them is if we have a Crocomire in the back of Lower Norfair and the various suit is at that X-ray location. So mm2 is checking this portal along the way, and Nevdi finds Crocomire in West Meridia here. So for Nevdi, with all this information now, this is essentially kind of an ammo hunt. There might be some checks for some movement items and maybe a couple more E-tanks. The super count is looking really suspect here. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if Nevdi decided to do a back of Lower Norfair if he found one here in West Meridia. And by the looks of it, back of Lower Norfair might be here. Actually, it looks like back of Lower Norfair has to be here. So it wouldn't surprise me at all. And this is the thing about the Mama Turtle check. If you're coming from this way, it's not too bad. Ideally, you'd like to power bomb bounce to that E-tank or bomb jump to it. But if you miss it, it makes it a really slow check. So that super missile's pretty good. Yep, and so based on our information, we know these last two portals are going to be back of Lower Norfair in front of Wreck Ship. We still have Redfish and the pre-Aqueduct portal here. Nevdi doesn't know this, but what Nevdi does know is that he doesn't have to go out the front of Lower Norfair. So if he finds a Lower Norfair here, I would not, it's not unexpected that, yeah, and see, he's farming power bombs to be able to do it. Yep, and here he's going. This is a pretty good 7+2 even is like pretty comfy, especially when you know Ridley's not here. Checking some of these ammo checks does waste a little bit of health, but the idea here is you're probably going to get an E-tank at Firefleet, and then even if you don't, you have enough power bombs to be able to do a couple of crystal flashes. And another power bomb. What is the ammo in this seed? So, based on that front of East Meridia location, mm2 probably doesn't feel terrible, but he probably will feel a whole lot better if this is Dragon. And it's not Dragon. It's Phantoon here. So the fact that this isn't Dragon probably leaves mm2 feeling a little bit bad about checking the back of East from the back here already, just because Nevdi will be able to do it faster. And now, by having Dragon dead, presumably. Yep, and Nevdi taking a save here. Makes complete sense. Because, so, what we might see, and the problem is it's going to be really suspect for MM2, but what we might see is we might see MM2 do a front-to-back Lower Norfair. Probably not because of the risk it involves, but the hard part here is like the risk of the execution. The execution on it is going to be pretty difficult with this loadout. And yeah, it probably doesn't. It's just you're going to have to hypo jump, which is just not what you want to have to do with a front-to-back Lower Norfair without the Varia suit. So he's in a really unfortunate position of he's going to have to take the slow way in to Dragon in East Meridia and the slow way out because Dragon isn't dead. Exactly. As Chad is pointing out, yes, he does have bombs for worst room in the game, but well, taking heated damage, unfortunately, bombs is not going to be a very good worst room in the game item. You know, if you had the Varia suit, I think you would definitely do a front to back Lord Norfair here no matter what. But without that Varia suit, it's going to be a little suspect. Probably a little too risky to want to risk that. So Nevdi's going to try and make it here without having to Crystal Flash. If this boss, and as we know, this boss won't be Phantoon. If this boss isn't Phantoon, he has a chance to get an energy tank back here. And it is Dragon, so that's going to save Nevdi a lot of time. We knew he would find Dragon before doing Lower Norfair. The thing is, though, is this health is... he does need to watch his health. Dragon doesn't deal a trivial amount of damage. Ideally, I think Nevdi would have preferred to find Kraid here. And as MM2 is trying to do a snail clip for some ammo, and unfortunately, it doesn't work out. And MM2 doing left sandpit here. Did MM2 do right sandpit earlier? Doesn't look like it. I think maybe you would want to do right sandpit here because your ammo is so bad. And, okay, Nevdi getting grabbed by Dragon. Yep, and, you know, you get a Spazer and a missile, but, you know, you would get 2 E-tanks. Or rather, excuse me, I can't speak. You would get 2 ammo checks, and Nevdi showing off very good usage of that screw attack option to prevent taking damage from Dragon. Screw attack just makes this way safer. Yep, and another usage of the screw attack is if you get hit by a goo and you spin jump, it destroys the goo and makes Dragon reset her cycle. Yep, so Nevdi is trying to save ammo here, is the really big thing. Nevdi wants to be able to Crystal Flash in case this isn't an energy tank. So he's trying to make sure that he doesn't go below 10 supers here. And as chat pointing out, there is the option with left sandpit is that you really want to be able to do Lower Norfair. So, a space jump or a high jump, for instance, would make a front-to-back Lower Norfair a little bit more tenable. The hard part is about that still is the 15 super missiles is really bad for a front-to-back Lower Norfair, unfortunately. And as Nevdi finds the charge beam behind Dragon there, not getting an E-tank shouldn't be a problem here. You should have plenty of health to be able to get out with this screw attack. As he does a Crystal Flash. He's happy to find charge, but maybe he was hoping for an E-tank just for the safety of it. Because it's pretty safe to assume in this seed that MM2 will also find that charge beam. The charge beam ended up being behind the Dragon kill in Lower Norfair. So now MM2 is coming back after having done that East Meridia there. It's going to come up to this middle portal, possibly an X-ray check. It looks like MM2 is selecting power bombs for an X-ray check. Possibly trying to last ditch a charge here, or some sort of movement item like a speed booster. It's just, he hasn't seen Croc yet either, so there is a chance that the Varia just ends up required with that front of Lower Norfair. And a front-to-front Lower Norfair. So Nevdi is saving here at the save station. And MM2 getting a speed booster. And Nevdi's situation is not easy right now. 4 tanks, no high jump. This could get sticky. Especially taking that damage. Yeah, I think you definitely have to try and farm here to get some health, but I think you almost just go, because dying here is really bad. You know, because if you farm all this and still die, doesn't really help. Yeah, and he's just gonna reset. Yeah. Yeah, Nevdi's just gonna take another death here. The super missiles are really hurting. I think Nevdi probably wanted to find Kraid there instead. Yep, Firefly was a tank that he got on the way in. Oh, Nevdi, no. This is, oh goodness. We got some shambles here. So MM2 did the first item of Croc and found the Varia suit. I wasn't really watching Nevdi leave. Did he take a hit in Wasteland? I think if he decides, okay, I think if Nevdi doesn't waste time farming these key hunters here, just goes, should be able to get through this and end up with, you know, and not take a hit there. He should be able to do this. This just should be a doable amount of energy without having to farm. And the seed is still not giving super missiles. I think you don't really have time to want to wait for the drops there. I think you just kind of have to go. Okay, now this should be doable. Looks like Rick's ship had all the supers. No, he was so close. So M2 is coming into wreck ship here. We know that wreck ship boss is going to be Kraid. And Nevdi's ammo is still bad, even with that charge beam. Yeah, that's the hard part. The varioless LN felt really comfortable, but this Giga hit that he took in Wasteland ended up looking like it's pretty costly here. And even just, you know, a few extra super missiles, or it being Kraid down there. It being Kraid down there would have really helped, because he would have been able to do 2 crystal flashes. Instead, he felt he was safe to and had to use super missiles on the Dragon fight. And so a big reason I think Nevdi's doing this is, you know, in any one situation, this time could be the one, right? And if he gets that, it's going to be faster than going and electing to farm the fire fleas. So this should be enough health. You shouldn't even have to... Oh no, you shouldn't even have to farm these guys. Come on, Nevdi. Okay. So Nevdi has made it out. MM2 is still searching for ammo, but I think MM2 has found himself in the lead now. Nevdi's ammo is still really bad. And MM2 is up a boss here, even though the East Meridia went really slow for him. So now this is another thing where that speed booster came in really big for MM2, is he was able to just do a spark up here, whereas Nevdi has to do this pretty tricky grab jump. It's definitely not a trivial gravity jump at all. Yep, and so Nevdi, despite having the charge beam, is still looking for super missiles. And unfortunately for him, one of the super missiles MM2 found in here was locked behind defeating Fantoon in East Meridia. And I believe, as someone in chat pointed out earlier, they were surprised that Nevdi didn't do at least the first item of Croc. And I think a big reason was is that Nevdi was, very likely going to find a back of Lord Orphere here, and didn't want to have to use all that ammo and wanted to be able to save those supers for some crystal flashes. The hard part is when the super count's this bad, that Lord Warfare escape becomes really tricky. Ooh, nice. Quick kill from Nevdi while down a super from usual. And is rewarded with all power bombs. Oops, all power bombs. I have to say, maybe that is the worst charge beam pickup of Nevdi's life. Probably felt pretty terrible after dying a few times. Oh, and MM2 is going to skip the item behind Dragon. This gets interesting now. I definitely get it at this point, right? You have your Very, you have your speed booster. That is the slowest boss check to do. I definitely get it, but I mean, Super's got to show somewhere, right? So now Nevdi's going out the back of Wreck Ship here, and this is to get back to that Red Brinstar. Red Brinstar is going to have the back of East Meridia and Kraid for him to do. With MM2 missing that charge beam, this is definitely not over. So Nevdi's coming here. Again, Nevdi really needs super missiles for that Ridley. With this health, one super missile should be enough. And there it is. And as chat pointing out, Nevdi did skip the spooky missiles in Wreck Ship. I'm also very surprised that he did that. Now with 25 supers and this health, Ridley should be pretty doable. Not trivial though. Definitely would like a 30th super if possible. The big thing is that is a super MM2 might end up picking up, depending on how he routes back to Red Tower. Maybe not. A little out of the way for him. Another thing of note is that Nevdi is going to have to farm mini Kraid quite a bit here for some super missiles. We'll see if he goes into East Meridia first, or just wants to get Kraid out of the way. Yep, so now MM2's coming up here for ammo. Yeah, no, you with how scarce the supers have been, you definitely pick up that missile there. And Nevdi electing to go into East Meridia first, I think this makes sense. You know the boss is going to be Fantoon. And you have a chance to pick up a super missile at Precious. Oh, and Watering Hole has double super. Yeah, and as chat pointing out, that energy tank at Mama Turtle that Nevdi ended up not picking up, coming in huge in this situation. I kind of get it. You're not used to being hamstrung by your super missiles on the crystal flashes in Lower Warfare. So I definitely get it. for sure. But it is a little unfortunate that it has worked out this way. With just really terrible super missile seed, couldn't really afford to do 2 crystal flashes. Now M2 coming to Mama Turtle as well, probably looking for charge, but also this ammo check here, which is going to be a super. So MM2's ammo is now done. 95-45 is doable. You shouldn't have to refill. Now Nevdi comes in for the Fantoon fight here. I think if you're Nevdi right now, you're hoping that that Varia was in, like, the wreck ship, right? With Fantoon here, you're hoping that wreck ship has that Varia suit and someone had to find it, someone would have had to go into here really in a slow way, without Dragon dead, to be able to get that energy, to get that Varia suit in the wreck ship. But unfortunately, we all know that it was the first item, a croc. M2 is routing his way back to the crate area. Especially with having that speed booster as well. It looks like MM2 is in the lead here. Not to mention, MM2 does have ammo, and Ammo Mother Brain fight is going to be significantly faster than Nevdi's Charge Ice Beam fight, so he's probably even further in the lead than it appears right now. Because Nevdi's Turian is going to be much, much slower, both without that Charge Beam, both without that Speed Booster, and with only that Charge Ice to supplement his lack of super missiles here. And Nevdi, forgetting to check Precious, is going to come over, find a missile, and just be really sad. So MM2 is going to have nice and, well, only has 118 energy, but with the screw attack, it, okay. 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 MM2 has defeated Ridley. That was getting a little spooky. So now M2's heading to Turian. Nevdi still has to kill that Ridley at Kraid to get to Turian. And also M2 is going to just have a much faster route to Turian with that speed booster. The depth certainly added up for Nevdi, but I think the speed into Varia back to back made it could have been pretty close had Nevdi not died a few times in that lower Norfair. I think Nevdi was still possibly a little bit ahead because the East Meridia from MM2 just really didn't work out for him at all. So Nevdi is saving. And for a little recap here, so MM2 went in to East Meridia from the back. Ended up not really working out for him. Nevdi ended up going into Lower Norfair. And on the way out of Meridia, MM2 checked X-Ray that Nevdi did not and found Speed Booster, and then checked the first item of Croc, which Nevdi did not, and found the Varia suit. And this led to MM2 not checking the item behind Dragon. It is the slowest boss to check behind, but that item behind Dragon ended up being the Charge Beam. It worked out in that after Lower Norfair, MM2 ended up in a pretty stacked West Meridia. Watering Hole ended up having double super, and then Mama Turtle had a super to cap off his ammo situation here. Now Nevdi having to do a bit of a hard Ridley fight. 30 missiles and 25 supers. It is tricky, but with this kind of health and 2 reserves, I think he should be fine. That's not good. Okay. Oh, that flame hit. And Nevdi perishes to Ridley there. A few mistakes in that fight. The fight is certainly not trivial with 25 supers, 30 missiles. Having to fire 30 missiles into Ridley takes a long time. Especially compared to 5 supers. 5 supers gets fired into Ridley significantly faster. M2 taking off the screw attack for an easier Zeb skip here. Not going to want to mess with the speed Zeb skip, and that pause also is kind of nice because it lets you do a little refill trick here to save some time on these refills. So the pause is kind of a 2-for-1 here. And so another option Nevdi has is he could lead off the Ridley fight with an X Factor, and if all 4 particles connect on that X Factor, that is the equivalent of 2 supers. However, if you've not practiced the opening X Factor with a misaligned Ridley, it is weird. Definitely something probably don't want to try without having done it a couple of times. It's not terrible, but certainly Nevdi isn't someone who X Factors Ridley on the regular, so. And as Chaz is pointing out, yes, that is correct. So supers deal double damage to Ridley, and therefore a super missile on Ridley is worth 6 missiles, which is why the difference between 25 supers and 30 supers on a Ridley fight is pretty immense. With the gravity suit as well, though, what Nevdi could have elected to do, and again, on a misaligned Ridley door, this is a little trickier, but on an aligned Ridley door, you definitely could do a PRKD opening X Factor in 6 missiles, and then just take the 40 for the second X Factor, and then finish up with your 25 supers, and that would be enough damage. And even though you're taking a hit on purpose there, that actually works out really well. I believe you can do the fight in 4 or 5 tanks maybe with that, 5+1. I definitely feel like I've been able to do it on some pretty low equipment that way, but that's hyper niche and hyper specific. You need the charge and the wave beam, and you need to not have 30 supers at this point. So M2 here finishing up. I suppose I probably should have mentioned ammo mother brain without charge beam. If you run out of ammo, you're soft locked and you just die. Refilling the first after the first door like MM2 did, left with what? 36 plus 80, which is so MM2 had like 5 or 6 supers of leeway, I think. I'm doing that math really bad, but definitely had quite a bit of leeway. Yeah, I think, yeah, because... I think maybe it was 3 supers of leeway. No, it was 5. It was 5, because it was 15 missiles of leeway. Sorry. I was just trying to do math in my head. It was 5 supers of leeway. I was right the first time. On certain values, the way I do that math is really easy, and on others, it causes a headache. Yeah, it's 5 without a refill and 6 with. Because 15, you're at 80, 35, so you need 75. Wait. Supplement. Oh, no. With the refill, without a refill, it's 3 supers of leeway, with it's 4. Okay, there we go. That's... Or, I can't do math. Just ignore me. MM2 didn't die. That's what matters. And mm2nescartridge is finished in first place with an official racetime.gg time of 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 16 seconds. And Nevdi has DNF'd, forfeited that, and looks like they're going to get into the next one here in a little under 10 minutes. So I will see you then. I'm going to take a quick break, get something to drink, have a quick snack. And I will see you back here in a little under 10 minutes for game 2 of this series. Thanks for watching.